Welcome, Hexicans. Welcome, fam. Thank you for joining me on Wake Up Hex this morning. I'm your guy, KNTX. Today we have a huge show. I think I tried to let everyone sizzle a little bit last night, and I see I got front ran by a few people like Mr. Bally at Bren, Mr. Overexcited and Preemptiveness. But we have a lot of things that we'd like to talk about today. And so I decided, what's the best way to get the community involved in this project? What's the best way for this to become something huge, not just within our community, but in our culture? And so what I have decided to do, and fortunately they have agreed and we are aligned on this, is I have the 5-time Emmy award-winning filmmakers here with me right now, and one of the members right now is Grant Peel. How are you doing, sir?
Hey, KNTX, man, I'm fired up, excited to be with you this morning, man.
Yeah, man. So if anyone's checked out that Sizzle reel yet, I'm going to go ahead and play it here in just a moment. We're going to go over some things, how the community can be involved, the call to action on this, how you can make this easier for them, how you guys can get some recognition through your avatar being a community member. What happens if we exceed the fundraising goals? There's just so much greatness happening here. And I know a lot of you guys out there were concerned about Richard Hart's stream last night about how there's nothing legal in place yet. That is being ironed out in the back. We'll talk a little bit about that, but so we can get right into this. I know you guys are super busy. I appreciate you guys even taking the time to do this, period. So I just want to kind of get into this right away. Real quick before we do, I just want to say, hey guys, all of you in my chat, it's always great to see you guys. Koshin, reach out to me. If you can Telegram me and just DM me, we can work this out. If you need to have the video interpreted into your native language, you could definitely do that. Don't mess with the visuals, but we can help you do that right. If you'll DM me, I'll get you in touch with the team, and they're willing to help you make that happen. Your donations from the community will also make it a possibility that we can get this in different languages as well. So that's all part of the game here, guys. Hex Live is I love to see you. Reggie Bone, Guy, Hex McKenzie, Fatal Fury, Hextown, Joe Hexotic, Nick Green, Hex Machine. Got to meet him in Atlanta this last weekend. Great dude. Great dude. Gosh, it just skipped all the way to the bottom there. Peter Danis. So that's my co-host here on a regular basis, Mr. Peter. And Hex in Effect, IWTBF, Spike, Will C, Crypto King, our producer here on this show, who gets us all these wonderful interviews like Congresswoman Cynthia McKinney, who we recently had, Scotty Does Know, OG Hexican, Hex in Excess, Crypto 303, Will C, Downhill Swimmer, Fatal Fury, iBaseline. Man, there's just so many of you guys showing up. Crypto Junkies in the house. So I have a show with him right after this show is over. So when this show is over, I'm going to hop over on a stream with him. We're going to also let their community know about this project that's going on as well. He's very, very aligned on a macro scale with the freedoms that crypto provides us and the self-sovereignty of money, as well as he wanted to build a bridge and see if there's something that we can do, since we're very aligned on vision. And he very much wants us, especially those of us that have made significant amounts of gains in crypto, to start being more influential in the space that I'm talking about with Grant here today, which is our culture and entertainment, as well as the political system. So I think those are all good things and worthwhile things that we need to be doing. Let me see here. I got to throw this up on the screen if I can find it. There we go. I'm behind a little bit. Scotty Does Know, thank you, sir, for the $500 donation. Super excited for this documentary. Love everything you guys at DS are doing for our amazing community. Keep up the great work. So this is one of those things I didn't want to spoil. It's one of those things you don't put the cart before the horse, and you don't let loose lips sink ships. So we kept this under wraps for a while until we knew that funding was secured for the actual filming. The rest is all cheddar from you guys, and you guys get a say and some involvement in this. And so we are extremely happy to bring this to the forefront. So Grant, I will let you speak. I'm just, as you can tell, I'm giddy like a schoolgirl and I just can't stop talking. So I should probably let you do some of that now.
Man, it's such a pleasure to join you and be able to reach out to the community and share with them what it is that we're doing. And we're here to celebrate, lift up, and lean into the story of crypto, and specifically through the lens of Hex and Richard Hart. What's happening to, extend this story so that it becomes, a part of the vocabulary of my mom and then also my boys, right? So, I look at both lenses in terms of wanting to really reach out and make sure that the world is aware of this, because you guys are so inside baseball that you understand it, it's a part you live, breathe, and die this stuff, but it's not yet a part of everyday American culture, world culture. It's not sitting on top of Netflix and Hulu and that's exactly what we want to do. We want to create a piece and a story that extends and reaches everyone so that they understand what's coming in the shift in terms of blockchain, crypto, and the space that's happening inside of Hex. And so that's our cause and purpose for being with you today, is to share with you our excitement and what it is that we're wanting to create together in leaning into that story specifically.
Yeah, I completely agree. It was like synergy from the moment that we first started talking. When we got an opportunity to sit down at the steakhouse and hammer out some of the details, I was like, man, I see this being, this, I don't think this was a coincidence. I don't personally believe in coincidences, and this was definitely ordained at some point to happen. And I'm just glad that myself, and then I was able to bring Archie and Big K into the fold, and we were able to make this a reality. I want people to know you guys obviously have a very accomplished background, and that speaks credence to your guys' credibility. And I want the community to know that this isn't a money play. This is something you guys as a passion project wanted to do, correct?
Yeah, 100%. I mean, so, the studio and the creative team that we have in place to create this story was born in a dorm room in Toronto. Over a decade ago, out of a passion to want to create and tell stories that would make a difference in the world. And, the difference was, Patrick, the co-director and founder of Muse, it has a psychology background, and, really wanted to do a deep dive in, why do we do the things we do? And then how do we influence and affect those around us, and learn that story is the most effective way to do that. And in order to be able to create and tell stories, he decided he would become a wedding filmmaker because it could help him afford the equipment. And so, in leaning into that experience and wanting to tell those stories in a different way, it's launched a career that, now allows us to explore original work, because, like the community of Hexicans out there, you guys are seeking freedom and autonomy, and you want, decentralization, and you want all of those kinds of things to be true, not for yourself, but for all of us. And that's what we want as storytellers. We want to be in charge of the stories that we tell. And this one is an original piece. This is a piece that we've come to because we're compelled and called to want to do it. It's not, we've been hired to do it. It's not client work. It's not inherited story. This is a story that is spoken to us, and we've decided, hey, we're all in. This is a story that we want to explore with passion and creativity. And to know our experience, and to know, the things that we've accomplished, we've been invited to do a host of work with large brands and with large production companies in the past, including CBS, including Showtime, right? Huh?
Yes.
Yeah, United Nations, right? Yeah, and it have invited us to help them educate on what story structure and storytelling can do in order to influence the work that they're doing. So, we've done stuff on major scale for other people, but this one really speaks to us because this is ours. And I think that that's really important that you know that of us. And then I also think that it would be really important to share with you the style of production and the approach that we bring to the work that we do. And there's one specific story that comes to mind that I have to share because I think that it speaks to the ethos of who we are and the way that we're going to be creating this piece. And years ago, our team was invited to tell the story of the Super Bowl. Okay. And we were given all access passes, right? And invited almost at the last minute to say, hey, how would you tell the story of the Super Bowl in a different way? And so we talked about using tilt shift lenses and a different cinematic approach or whatever. But along with that came the idea of complete access. So we arrive on the day of the work, and Patrick gets there, and there's all of these securities and all of these different check boxes that you have to in order to be able to you know, get accreditations and all that kind of stuff. So Patrick goes through all of these security checks, and he gets to the very last one, and it's the one that affords you to be on the field. Okay. And that comes with a specific vest that you wear. And that vest then allows security to know that you can go anywhere that you want in the stadium, but you can also go on the field. So he goes to check in his name, and they looked at him and they said, "Sir, Patrick, we don't have your name on this list." He said, "Well, I'm sorry, there must be something wrong. Like I'm clearly, like, I have this all access pass. You can see this or whatever. Call the CBS producer who, you know, got me this accreditation or whatever." And they're like, "Look, I'm sorry, if this takes weeks in advance in order to secure this. If your name is not on this list, you are not getting on the field." Well, to know Patrick is to know that there's no way that he's going denied and not being on that field on that day, right? You were Super Bowl Sunday. You were there to tell that story. You were getting on the damn field, right? There's nothing that's going to hold him back. So immediately he starts trying to figure out how on earth is he going to solve for this, right? He's looking left, he's looking right, and he's trying to figure out, oh, wait, this guy has a vest. Let me go pay him a little extra on the side, and I'll borrow his vest, and we'll just like do 10-minute shifts, right? Like whatever. And this guy's like, "Look, man, I'm not coming off of this vest. A, like my assignment, and B, my career and job is on the line. Yeah. That is not happening." So he's still thinking. He's like, "Hold on, not everybody who's on the field has a damn vest on, right?" Like if you think about it, who's on the field that doesn't have a vest? You're like, well, there's like referees, they don't have on vests. There's coaches, they don't have on vests. Players, right? And then he's like, wait a minute. And he looks over, and in the tunnel is one of the team's group of cheerleaders, right? That are sitting in that tunnel. So Patrick doesn't dress and drag and decide that he's going to become a cheerleader. But what he does is he takes social proofing, and he takes this big vest, this Steadicam vest that like the animatronic, you know, unit that helps hold it steady. I'm sure that you've seen this in the behind the scenes in Hollywood filmmaking. So he puts on the Steadicam, and he goes running over to the tunnel, and he goes, "Oh, whew, I made it just in time. I'm supposed to run out with you ladies when you come out on the field," right? And they're like, "Oh, great, come on in," whatever. They invite him into the inner gaggle or whatever, and then boom, they go running out of the tunnel when they go to take the field, and Patrick with his Steadicam goes running out with them, and now he's sitting on the 50-yard line of the Super Bowl with his Steadicam on, and no one thinks anything about it because he's already been invited. The security line invited him out. Like, and now he already had permission. He was supposed to have done that, right? But just to share with you a little bit with regard to the way that we handle storytelling and how passionate we are about wanting to do the job, do it correctly, and not allow obstacles to stand in the way of the way that we create those stories is really important, I think, for you and the community to know who we are of us and the way that we're going to handle the creation of this story.
I agree. This is not just a paid assignment for you guys. This is something you want to turn heads. You want to bring attention. You want to tell the best story possible. And so I know there's some other documentaries that are being discussed. One's from an internal source and one's from a third-party source. And so I know that there's probably some collaboration that can happen amongst the different documentary films, because I think they can be complementary versus competitive. And not to say that you shouldn't have that competitiveness to drive you to do a better story. I think that's definitely a huge element to this. But I just want everyone to know that these guys are all in. So I have a question for you.
Yeah.
Can you tell the community, you and I have had this discussion, but I want you to tell the community, what was it that you saw in Richard and Hex that was so compelling? You're like, that's the story that we want to tell. That's the story we want to hang our hat on going forward.
Yeah. Well, so from the outside, you should know that we live, breathe, speak story. Okay. Like that's, yesterday I made an analogy that Patrick is a bit, and I would too be like this. We're a bit of like a cookie, like the Cookie Monster from Sesame Street. And he's always like, cookie. We live our life with like story, right? Like that's what we're excited about. And we get approached all the time with opportunities that don't transcend, right? They're just radio noise. It's not a real story. It's not captivating and compelling from the word go. And when we were invited in to explore Richard and Hex, wow. Stories born out of conflict, right? Like really great stories.
You won't find a bigger conflict in crypto than Hex.
Conflict, right?
In our underdog story of how we've overcome against all the gatekeeping. I agree.
It's immense, right? Like, so Richard is a polarizing character. The product that he's made, the community that he's created, it is equally feverish about the way that they see the world and the way that they hope that the world will see them and that the others would become a part of it. So, just from the outside, that in and of itself was compelling just from, the word go. And then having an opportunity to visit with Richard and, to be brought into the fold and to sit with him for, 3 days was just, a tremendously fascinating experience. To know that he is who he is when you're sitting and having, an alfresco dinner with him, in the courtyards of Estonia, and that he's the same there as he is on the live streams. It's not a facade. It's not, we're turning on lenses and,
it's not time to turn on the avatar.
That's it. Exactly. And, and along with that then comes, some really interesting and idiosyncratic kind of, moments, right? Where like there's a as much compulsion or conviction about what we're going to order for dinner and like the dialogue you're having with, the server as you are the way that he feels about Hex and what he's created. Right. And like the real conversations about, he looking around and everything I think I see becomes a Tootsie Roll to me kind of a thing. And he's looking around and going like, do you know how many people are going to regret not having been a part of this opportunity as you're just sitting there, watching other diners go about their normal activity, and knowing that, he would really, if, he would love to evangelize, right? Like from that moment and share with every single person that he knows. But there's no practicality to that. And then the other thing that was really interesting was to have, be with him in this situation where he's, going to buy this car, right? He's buying this Ferrari that's like an absolute.
Yeah, you guys caught that. Moment. That was a live filming. That wasn't something that was staged. That was literally something that happened with you guys.
Yeah, absolutely. He bought that vehicle. That is now his one, of I don't know how many cars that he has, but certainly that is his car. And he's driving it wherever he lives. Who knows, where that is. But for many people, that would be like this dream moment, right? Like the small childhood boy manifesting this car or whatever. And, throughout the entire experience, he's in his phone and working and communicating with developers on Pulse. Like, you know what I mean? Like he has daily responsibilities, but also a work ethic that was just nonstop. So that was absolutely consuming him, the work that was needing to be done in order to make that happen alongside, let me pause for 10 minutes and buy this car, jump in and joyride for a minute. And now we're back to work. So, it was just a really interesting dynamic and a look inside under the hood of his
literally under the hood.
Under the hood. Exactly.
That is awesome. So to give some credence to everybody, I had a meeting. I was able to sit in on a meeting and explain some of the things that we're working on with Richard Hart, as well as some very influential people in legacy finance and some people that are from legacy finance that are playing in the DeFi game right now. And I can tell you this much right now, that the camera wasn't rolling and Richard was very much as authentic in that personal high level meeting that we were in versus anything he does on a live stream. So I have to say that, so that there's more than one person saying it, to give hopefully some more credence to it, Richard is very much the guy that he shows up to be on stream. It is not cameras are rolling, time to get into costume and do my thing. So
yep. I almost there's a mad respect I have for how transparent he is and who he is and his approach to life, right? And at times I find that, you know, his approach to life probably don't align with my approach to life, but mad respect that he's that transparent in who he is and the way that he conducts himself, right? And I like I strive to have that much transparency in everything I do as well. So
yeah, absolutely. So one thing I want to do now at this point in time is I want to do a call to action to the community. So you guys have an opportunity to, this is going to be this is already a big film. This is already a big deal. It's the cogs that have been put into motion. There's no stopping this train at this point in time. So you guys as Hexicans have an opportunity to not only contribute, but also to get your avatars and or your names on the credit rolls. And I'm gonna make this right now very much a challenge. If you are the last name on the credit roll, it means you gave the least amount, and that's going to be sealed in history forever. So don't be that guy. Don't be that Bob. Okay. Don't be the guy that what was it, Greg, that sold his Bitcoin at 30 cents. Okay. So make sure you're not famous for that. So if you guys go to thehighestofstakes.com, thehighestofstakes.com. I had a lot of people on Twitter ask me, is this a legit link? Yes, absolutely it is. Make sure you fill out the survey if you want credit for it before you send it off. But I want you to speak, Grant, to how many or what this means, that the more money that is raised, what are the bigger and bigger and bigger goals that we're looking to accomplish and achieve?
Yeah, well, you know, I mean, as you could very well imagine, there are in the spectrum of films, if you want to think about like blockbusters and that kind of a thing, you can think about like that student film, right? That someone gets started with, that's low budget, and you know that they're a well-intentioned storyteller, but they're very under-resourced, and as a result of being under-resourced, when you watch the piece, you see it, it's reflected in it, like, you know what I mean, like you're using really bad costumes in order to try to tell the story of, you know, Greco-Roman soldiers or whatever, and like it's homemade and sewn because there's no money to support it, right? And then on the other hand, you have something like 300, right, which is using CGI and the best of Hollywood A-list actors and like absolutely scored to the frame the music that is there and the rich, right, the sound design and everything that can go into that, and you have that moment, you know, that so you feel it viscerally, the difference in production value, right? So you can think about it in those terms. The same is true when we want to go and create a documentary, right? So if you're under-resourced, that's when things reflect and show in the work itself, right? The lighting's poor, the camera work is unintentional, everything, you know, becomes a spray and pray, and you're not able to do the work ahead of time that really helps bring clarity to the story, right? You're just trying to find it in post and make all of those kinds of allowances and excuses. Or if you're resourced beautifully, you can stop, you can be intentional, you can have the time to know how it is that you can best express this story in a way that will have the largest effect, that it's going to, you know, entertain and also educate. And we can do things like not only, you know, use pre-existing sound beds, but we can go and engage in having someone score this piece custom, right?
Yes.
We can really lean into international production because this is a worldwide story. We don't have to remain confined to domestic travel, right? And so all of those kinds of considerations need to be taken into account when you go, how much resource do we have to tell this story, and how far can we take it in terms of, you know, motion graphics, for example, right? These are complex ideas, right? Blockchain and cryptocurrency and the way that decentralization is going to change not only finance, but so many other parts of what we're experiencing in the world. These are very complex ideas that, you know, to tell something simply, to do it well is at its most difficult, right? And the more that we can use motion graphics and art direction and all of those resources, we can do it much more effectively. And so this really affords us the opportunity to take everything to that next level and to really leverage our ability to make a difference in creating this story. So that's, we know that what we've done is we've secured the baseline foundational funding that allows us to greenlight this project. And we know that we can execute and create a story. Yes. The opportunity now is to stretch. The opportunity now is to take that foundation and layer on it and really make something that is going to excite everyone and will enthrall and capture the attention of the OTTs, of the Netflix, of the Hulus, of the, right? Yes. Like we go and create a compelling, highly, produced piece that's intentional and is awesome and has all of these kind of qualities. They can't help but listen. They can't help. But right, like we will be at their doorstep with something that then they will have to listen to.
They have to recognize.
They have to recognize, and that's the opportunity that we have.
So there's several things I want to touch on this. So I could go off on all kinds of tangents. So if you need to pull me back, I know I'm the host and I'm supposed to be the one to pull you back on, but you might have to pull me back in. I'm very excited and very proud to be executive producer of this film. I'm hoping there's opportunity for us in the future to work again, and I think there will be. As far as aliens, what you are saying here, how much cash do you need? These guys had a very low projection compared. I said, you need to have more faith in this community. I don't think you guys know this community well enough. I think we can raise $5 million for these guys. I think $5 million production on top of what has already been funded to actually make sure the filming happens is doable. So all of you guys, we're aiming for $5 million. You guys think about that. We can either have 5 hexagons with $1 million a piece, or we can do 100 with 5, or whatever it takes, 100 or 10 with 500,000, or 100 with 50,000. It doesn't matter to me. Every small bit helps too, guys. So I think we can hit that. When you were saying, when you're talking about the dorm room school film versus the 300, well, that rings very true in our community, because our literally like the most used meme for the hexagons on Twitter is the 300, because they look at, we actually, someone put together one of the video section where he's talking to the Athenians and he says, what is your profession? What is your profession? I'm a potter. I'm a blacksmith. And he says, Spartans, what is your profession? And they changed it to hexagons. What is your profession? And everyone goes, oh. So that is our theme. So that strikes really close to home. So whether you meant to do that or not, it's perfect for us. Perfect for us. So we do have a lot of access to. Richard, can you speak to what the top 3 people that donate
are going to get? Yeah. So what's really awesome is that in having spent the time that we have with Richard, we've had the opportunity to share with him what it is that we're hopeful to do, and then we've requested some specific asks of him, right? And we've invited him to say, listen, would you be willing to invite us into these moments when you're struggling, moments being vulnerable in that way, but also would you be willing to reach out and allow us to make invitation to have people come be a part of the premiere? And he said yes, like that would excite him. He would love to be able to provide that experience. And so as a result, we're able to offer the 3 people who donate the most to help us create this production an opportunity to come and be present at the premiere of the film itself, where of course Richard will be present. And so as a result, we can make that introduction. We can celebrate and say thank you to those people who've made these significant donations, and we can make that introduction to Richard, and he can thank you in person as well. So now this is all subject, of course, to security, and right. I mean, we understand OPSEC, we understand all of those. Everything here is about dotting I's and crossing T's with regard to the back end of all of these opportunities. Right. But they are special, right? They're special opportunities and ones that we're excited to be able to offer. And so we will, throughout the entirety of this donation raise over the next week, we will be putting on the website those people who are currently in the lead in those positions. So you will know where you stand as we come upon, over the next week where we are. And then timestamp, boop, 11:59 PST next October 1st. that's it. And we're locked.
Yep.
And the top 3 people will have the invitation to become a part of the premiere. And our, our gratitude for supporting and helping us really raise the level of production in order to tell this story in a compelling way.
One of the things that sold me on let's get these guys more money to work with is the level of known entity that can become the narrator. So that probably is not a cheap endeavor in Hollywood. I can't imagine it would be. So can you tell us a little bit about that? Because that was the thing that sold me, like, oh, let's get the funds raised.
Yeah, 100%. So, I mean, if we think about the idea of our audience and this story, there's going to be a whole host of questions that this is going to create for the mind's eye of our audience, right? Where like they're going to get introduced to the idea of cryptocurrency and Richard and Hex and, the difference in terms of proof of stake versus proof of work and all of those kinds of complex ideas. We're going to need someone who can help entertain and educate our audience along the way. And so we feel like there would be a really strong use of someone who has the audience's back and would narrate and help us guide that story. And if we can have and cast that person as somebody who is more of a household name, who's an approachable character, that not only, will that drive interest just from the word go, because that's how Hollywood works, right? Like as soon as they can attach an A-list actor, as soon as Tom Cruise signs up for your script, like everything changes, right? And the same would be true of our documentary, and it lends credence to the story and everything that's happening in terms of getting the attention of the distributors. But in addition to that, it also allows that spoonful of sugar, right? That will help our audience, accept this idea. And then, of course, it's always been our experience that, really talented people, really talented actors or comedians that are doing this work will really add to the experience.
Yes. Yeah, and this seems to be the name that pops up the most. I don't know if you read the screen there, but this is the name that pops up the most in everybody.
Morgan Freeman.
Yep. Everybody wants Morgan Freeman, it sounds like.
And educate us on Hex and cryptocurrency, right? Like,
yep.
Yeah, that's not $1.50, right? Like that's
yeah.
We're talking, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. They're talking
Daraj Moore, Dr. Daraj Moore, you need to send more than 1 cent. He wants the last credit reel, but we want Morgan Freeman. So
yeah, that could be, you're talking millions of dollars to get him excited and interested to be a part of this, right? And
yep.
And it wouldn't be out of off base to say that it could be like a $20 million ask in order to get somebody like Morgan Freeman. So who knows, right? Like we'll have to see when
you guys heard it. You guys heard it. We need, so with production quality on top of the 5 million for a narrator of that quality, we need 25 million now. So the ask has just gone to 25 million, guys. So
which is just now let's also temper this. So we're not specifically saying that that we can get more. All right, yes. I love it.
This is the opinion of me and my show, not the opinion of the highest of stakes production team. So I will make that disclaimer right now.
We're not. I mean, just also for the record, we get as Morgan Freeman. I'm going to come out like a schoolgirl with my excitement to work and be a part of our production and having Morgan Freeman be there, but. I just want to also temper our expectation that we're not coming to the community saying we need $25 million in order to get Morgan Freeman to be a part of our documentary, right?
So all of you guys with the call to arms right now, I put RG's comment below. Our producer of this film, The Highest of Stakes, is RG3. Him and Big K are the two producers. I'm executive producer, and the producer has spoken. 25 million, no problem for Hexicans. So.
I tell you, this community. It is continually opening my eyes. It is continually blowing my brains, and it is certainly shaping the way that I see the world in a very different way. Like I'm seeing more opportunity and more abundance than I had as a storyteller and as a person than 6 weeks ago. So anyway, I appreciate that perspective. I appreciate that approach, and we will afford ourselves to dream and think larger than we had been as well.
Yeah, you guys need you guys need to aim for Saturn, because that's where Hex is going. And if you fall short, you land on the moon, and that's okay. So we've got Fred Durst is a Hexagon. So Limp Bizkit and DJ Lethal are Hexagons. They have as much proven so on Twitter. So this guy just wanted to throw out, just ask Fred Durst to narrate.
That's good stuff. Well, it'd be interesting too, as we consider soundtracking or whatever. Trent Reznor is now a tremendous composer of, he did the whole Social Network piece or whatever, and maybe even won an Oscar for it. So anyway, it's cool to be thinking in those terms, like, who do we know and what are the connections and what are the possibilities?
Absolutely. Well, this is what our community does. We dream big. DS does. We've had big names on the show that other fake fluencers, which we will talk about later. We have Freddy Quotes joining us today talking about the Furu's eulogy. You guys were able to make that filming. You guys were able to help contribute in a large way. It was a lot of fun. Wasn't it a good event?
Dude, so what a day.
The energy that was
fantastic.
In there. So these Furus that get their followers wrecked in the crypto space, they have lots and lots of viewers, and we have our subscribers, and we have just over 5,000. But we've had people of much higher influence and importance than anyone they've ever had on the show. Mm-hmm. They just fluff the internal crypto space and the whole replicated centralized middleman that is already existing in the traditional financial space that we are aiming to get rid of. So we have huge expectations and huge dreams. And because we saw the big dreams and aspirations of you guys, it was something that completely resonated with us. And so we appreciate that.
Yeah. What an awesome day it was to spend that time with you and Freddy Quotes and the whole, the community that was around it. It was an electric day, an electric situation. And, yeah, and I would just also then double down and comment that you've been such a pleasure to work with.
Oh, thank you.
Like from the word go, from the moment that we met you under the auspice of this, this music video and all of the theatrics that were happening and all of those kinds of things, and then to be removed from that scene and sit and just share a meal, there at the steakhouse and have you comment and share with us your experience, and then share your ideas, share some concerns that you had around the way that we, what work were we going to do? Were we legitimate? Could we be the stewards of this story and those kinds of things? And then also taking a leadership position and encouraging others to take action and make like investment in what we've done. You work with intention and with pace, but you also dot every I and cross every T. And there's just been like open and professional communication, and you're just a solid dude. And just, you should know that we really much appreciate who you are and your approach as well. And that we look forward to working on this project. And then, who knows what else we could do together.
I think there's going to be plenty for us to work with going forward. There's a lot of people in this community that have a lot to contribute. We've got professional filmographers, video editors. We've got people who own production studios for music, and they're all willing to give their time. We've got professional corporate SEO people who are making Hex rise to the top in the Google searches. They're even trying to get Nomics, if they can get Nomics to give them some of their back end data to try to get them as the #1 coin market aggregator that shows up at the forefront of the Google searches. So like there is just this immense talent pool within the Hexagon community. So to be recognized, that's very humbling. Thank you. I appreciate that. I do a lot of stuff on the back end that a lot of the Hexagons don't see, and that's okay. I don't do this for the fame or the glory, but for the betterment of the Hexagon nation and for everyone to the world to find out about Hex and Richard Hart, because that's really what's important here. That is definitely what is important here.
And that's been our experience with you, just through and through on every single count. Yep.
Absolutely. I appreciate that. 100%. Thank you. Yeah. So we do have an actor he actually hit me up on Twitter last night. This is Kyler Kaufman. His manager is Luber Rocklin. He's one of Hollywood's biggest talent reps, and his agency is Media Artist Group. He says, use my connections, please. Trust me, we will. Any of you guys have any connections? We also have a gentleman named Far Out Aliens who we are working with on the back end with the trusts to make sure that the Hexicans can protect their wealth for generations to come. And he is from the Georgia filmmaker scene. So as we all know, the film industry is very large in Georgia. The tax credits make it so. And he actually comes from that background. So we have a lot of people in here that can help. I would like to think I'm the Joe Rogan of Hex, but no, that's but I appreciate that. That is kind. That is kinder than I deserve. But is there anything that you would like to wrap up with?
You gonna show that sweet sizzle reel or not? We gonna roll that thing so that people can see what it is that we've made so far?
Oh, I suppose we could probably do something of that nature. Maybe? I mean, yes, let's go ahead and do it.
All right.
Give me 1 second here. So, yeah, that's probably important here, right? Let me pull this up because I forgot to have it already prepared and ready to go. So I failed you guys. And we are going to make this big so that we can share this screen. And let me know if you can hear. We are going to make this big. And you guys let me know if you guys can hear this.
This is the opportunity of a lifetime. Yes, every scammer in the world is going to tell you something similar, but in this case, you are actually going to have regret.
I mean, you're scamming everyone. Richard Hart, he's got a history of being called the spam master.
There's some weird things going on with his coins.
Making one of the biggest Ponzi schemes that we have ever seen.
Hex coin is 1,000% a scam coin.
People are going to lose money because of you.
Remember all the haters? All the haters that told you that I was a scammer and Hex was a scam? I got bad news for the haters. We're making new all-time highs where everything else is getting wrecked. Price is up 4,000 or 5,000 fold in 600 days.
I've made enough money in the last week that I could buy a house in cash.
I would never have to work another day in my life.
I'm here to shill. I want to change the world, and I can only do that if people participate. The only thing that matters in this world is goods and services. Everything else is accounting. And our made-up imaginary internet money is better than the government's made-up imaginary internet money. Both of them are only backed by the shared fiction of the humans believing that they have value.
If Hex is a religion, then Richard is God.
I'm in crypto for glory. I want to have the best cryptocurrency that's ever existed. I want to have the best performing asset that's ever existed.
And so I think of blockchain as like the internet. In the 90s, everyone thought the internet was just for email.
I bought some this morning.
They're imaginary quarters. Like, it's like playing Monopoly.
I put it all in. I went.
Like, all what?
All of our house money.
This is a force that is not going to go away. The cryptocurrency is not going away. And at some point, the people that you met that you thought were crazy loon birds, they're going to be in the 1%. And they're going to be the people that own half everything.
All right. That is, to me, so when the first sizzle reel that you guys put out, Quattro Cinco, great OG Hexican, Quattro Cinco, you guys have a working history with him in the background. He's the one that made you guys aware of this story, if I remember correctly. And he brought this to me, and I said, I'm sold. Where do we sign up? Where do we make this story happen? I could tell by the quality of the production, this needed to be a story that went out.
And to answer that question, it's thehighestofstakes.com. That's where we go right now in order to help make this happen.
Link is in the description below, guys. For all of you guys who keep asking, just look in the description below. I have it. That's the first thing posted to help donate and to make this a reality. Thehighestofstakes.com. Thehighestofstakes.com.
Yeah.
So
and the sizzle reel lives there as well, so that you can share that with other people. You can tweet it out, put it on your social. You can encourage other people to see it. You can educate people, your mother-in-law or your friend at work or whatever, and letting them know, hey, this is what's coming, and get people excited.
this is probably, in my opinion, because you affect the culture, you affect the storytelling, and you become part of the mainstream. This is the point, the pivotal point of our virality, guys. So you play a big part in politics, you play a big part in the culture and the memes, and you've won the hearts and souls of many. And getting rich is a pretty easy story to sell. And the character to hang that hat on, I think, in my opinion, is Richard Harden. I think you guys saw that too.
It's fascinating world, and we can't wait to be, in it, living, breathing, sleeping it, until we get this thing completed and out. So, know that we are completely focused, all in, and ready to go.
Perfect. Well, I appreciate it, guys. thehighestofstakes.com in the description below. This is your opportunity to be a part of this, guys. A movie for us, by us, as Wales himself says. Wales and I we spent last weekend together. We've become really good buddies. We were already obviously like-minded Hexicans from the get-go, freedom-loving, self-sovereignty type people. And he's one of the biggest influences and biggest voices in, and literally just a voice, because he's an avatar and a voice at this point. We're going to get the face reveal soon, guys. Don't worry about that. But he is right. A movie for us, by us. We want to show we have executed on the highest levels of everything in the crypto space. Let's show them we can step up our game and do it with production as well. So let's make this happen, guys. So be sure to donate to the cause of sharing the truth. Absolutely right. And Tom Gillespie, thank you. Another one of the documentary filmmakers here, Tom Gillespie. Respect. So mad respect to you guys at the highest of stakes. So Patrick and Grant, I'm sorry we couldn't get Patrick on here. I really was hoping that he'd come on here too, but Grant, you do such a great job of delineating all the message, and I really appreciate it. Show where we can find out more about you guys, and what social medias we can follow you guys on.
For now, the highest of stakes is the primary place. Muse Storytelling is the production company and the team, right? And so if you go at the top of the page, the highest of stakes, there's additional links that send you to additional information about who we are, the studio, and you can, learn and see and explore and, all of that good stuff.
That is fantastic. Well, I think we hit all the important points today. If not, would you mind coming back in the future when I know you guys are extremely busy.
Never. No, never.
Okay.
We refuse. No, are you kidding me? Of course, we make ourselves available. Absolutely, yeah. That would be a blast, man.
Fantastic. Fantastic. So thank you, Nardo, for the win. 55-55. We are definitely on team win. Another solid Hexican that I got the opportunity to meet. Love that guy, and he loves his mama. Shout out to Nardo's mama. Make sure she knows about that, Nardo. So yeah, we'll do some follow-ups in the future. We'll kind of give some updates, what's going on. I am introducing you on the back end to some of the characters within the Hex space that I think their stories need to be told, and we will continue going forward, guys. So, hey, Grant, thank you so much for taking the time today, buddy.
Hey, yeah, absolutely, and I'm stoked for what Freddie is going to share with the community next as well. So,
yes,
what a great day that was, and big fans. So.
Absolutely. So you guys, that does accept the address on thehighestofstakes.com. That ETH address does accept, obviously, as those of you in the crypto space know, it does accept ETH, USDC, and Hex is what they're accepting. So ETH, USDC, and Hex. And these guys are probably going to stake that Hex. I don't know what they're going to do with it. I mean, we got to pay for some production, obviously, but hey, maybe that'll give a multiplier. Maybe if they can sell down the USDC and the ETH first and get the multiples out of the X with this production can go even further, because us Hexicans, we like to stake it, and we like to stake it long. So, and
you know that we'll be looking for counsel on how to best do that. So we'll have conversation. We'll figure it out.
Absolutely. Well, hey, thanks again, Grant. Right. I don't want to run out of too much time. Awesome. I could do this all day, but I know you guys are busy, and I don't want to keep Mr. Freddy Quotes hanging on any longer. So awesome. I really appreciate you guys. We'll be talking soon. I'll follow up with you guys here later today.
Thank you. All right. Talk soon. Appreciate you.
Thanks, Grant. All right. So without further ado, I would absolutely love to pull up our one and only, the best rapper in crypto, Mr. Freddy Quotes.
What's up, brother?
It is good to see you, buddy.
That's the greatest introduction I think I've ever had. Oh my God, that's so awesome.
Well, it doesn't hurt that the credentials of the people before you help get to play into the introduction, as well as them saying what a great production that was, because they got to be part of the production. They got to play a huge part. They worked hand in hand with your filmographer, and so they saw themselves just how quality this production is going to be, and they saw the energy and the excitement of the OGs in the room. So is there anything along those lines you'd like to speak to?
Yeah, man, dude, Grant and Patrick. Is my mic too loud? Someone in the chat said
it is a little hot. I'm not going to lie.
All right, let me do, does that help at all?
It's a little bit better. Yeah. Yep.
Just give me 1 second. So I'm working with a new mic here. Is that any better?
Yeah, that is much better.
Is that much better? Okay. So, man, like those guys are just absolute professionals, right? Like we didn't know what to expect, or maybe you did. I had seen the sizzle reel before they came in and they got there, but holy cow, man, like they're just the ultimate professionals. That's the only way that I can really explain it. My video guy, Sean, who helped out with the Hexagon Anthem live stream that we did for the Hex conference in January, he's a rock star. And when you called me on Friday before the filming and said, hey, are you cool with this? I was like, absolutely, 100%. I called Sean to let him know, and he was a little intimidated. He was, a little nervous, right? This isn't something he does full time. It's only something that, he does. He does music production for clubs and stuff like that. So he helps me out with videos because he's a good friend and he's awesome, but it's not like his gig like these guys. Well, they got there and I mean, they just lifted everybody up. I'm getting goosebumps just talking about it, man. Like just the way that they came in and the love that they showed to everyone and how
from the
helpful they were from the jump, from the
they
first
offered
moment.
before they even showed up. They're like, hey, since we're coming, they asked, hey, do you mind if we come to this? I said, well, before I overstep my bounds, let me ask Freddie and see if that's cool. And of course you were excited about it. And they said, yeah, we'll bring some equipment too. Yeah. And they walked in with top A-line stuff. So
yeah, they were like, hey, we've got thousands of square feet of equipment. If you need us to bring this, do you guys need anything? And I reached out to Sean and he was like, yeah, if they want to, absolutely. Like, we'll never say no. But and then they showed up with the lighting and this and that and like fog machines and all sorts of crazy stuff, man. Like just awesome people just willing to help. But it's funny, man, because that's everybody in the Hex community. Everybody really just wants to help everybody else. And I mean, even with the music video, like reaching out to RG3 and Maddie Allen, and then them both saying yes, and then having it snowball from there. Obviously you coming out and being a huge help, man. Like it's just an unbelievable weekend, man. But yeah, they're, Grant, Patrick, like they're rock stars, man. I hope and pray that I have the opportunity to work with them again in the future, whether it be for another music video or whatever. They just have such a huge vision. I talk about that a lot, like you gotta have big goals, right? And you have to focus on what you want to happen and take the actions necessary to make it happen. And they have huge goals. Like these guys, you are your 5 closest friends. So if you surround yourself with losers, you'll be a loser. And it took me a long time to realize that, 27 years of my life. And it wasn't until I was about 27, I realized, if you want to be successful, you have to surround yourself with successful people. And these guys are like just the real deal, man. But just a privilege, really. It was a privilege to have them come. Like I can't say that. I was going to say I could never afford to have them come shoot a music video for me, but that's not really the case anymore.
Hex solves that, right?
Hex solved that. Yep, absolutely.
That's exactly right. Well, the nice thing is that the community, anytime I've ever had a call to action to the community, hey, what are your specialized skill sets that you can help grow this community? I've been flooded with DMs. And in fact, I feel guilty. I'm sorry, you guys. I have dropped the ball on so many of you guys. So many of you guys out there like Epic Productions and Hex Atlas and all of you guys that have reached out and said, hey, I've got this specialty, this expertise, Subconscious on Telegram. I've dropped the ball on you guys because I just cannot keep in contact with all of you guys at the same time. And so I've just been trying to build all these things out on the back end. We've got legacy financial products we're building. We've got a documentary we're filming, and the legacy financial, that's more than just one thing we're working on. There is a whole host. I don't want there to be any expectations of the work of others, because we know that that's how Richard plays this, and it's a great motto to live by. But everything from there to the hottest crypto rap ever. Just wait till Freddie drops this on you guys, and just having a music video just takes it to the next level. In fact, I've got some things here, some photos here that you guys might be interested in. Here's some videos of everyone. Well, not everyone, but just some teasers for what happened during this thing.
Coffee, man. Coffee's got some dance moves. Y'all are going to see Coffee in this music video break out some dance moves that are pretty good. KNTX too. KNTX has some really good dance moves that will be featured in the video for sure.
I hope I didn't make a fool of myself too much.
So. No.
Well, that Absolutely is good. Not. And this is, look at all those OGs in one room. Look at all those OGs in one room. So risky RG.
So much fun. So much fun. RG has a very funny dance scene as well.
yes. His we don't want to. We'll tease it, but we don't want to ruin it. The spoiler alert there on that one, because that is phenomenal.
Super awesome.
This production came, just the energy in that room. So. This is the Hexagon Nation. These are Hexagons. This is Hex. Just quality, like-minded people that are genuine, not out to take advantage of the community, not out to just enrich themselves, but genuinely want to give to the community. The conversations that we had, Freddie, at your house regarding what we would like to do with this newfound wealth and how we would like to change the world was just mind-boggling. I have never seen a community, let alone a crypto community, ever discuss the plans that we had in that in conversation at your house that weekend. That was just amazing.
It's so cool, man. Like someone said it, maybe it was, I don't know if it was you. Someone said the right people got the money in Hex, and there is so much truth to that, because everyone who's here, all the OGs, everyone is working so hard in the background to make things possible for everybody else in the community. And not only that, for people who haven't even joined the community yet, like, we're still pre-viral. Like this hasn't even popped off yet. And for us to be in the position that we are, and every single person is selfless. Well, that just goes, I mean, literally when I started calling everyone and asking if you could come, can you come? It was a week's notice. People had a week to get their tickets, fly in, get hotel rooms and all that good stuff, and get out here. And everyone, they dropped everything. And I mean, time with their families. And I don't know if any of them are still working really, but time with the family is the biggest thing, man. Like just to take an entire weekend away from your family, it's a lot to ask.
That was my biggest sacrifice. Mm-hmm. That was absolutely my biggest sacrifice.
Yep. Especially with a newborn,
Yes. But I wanted to be there. I wanted to be that moment will forever be locked, at least in my mind, as history that there's literally no words to express the love, the gratitude, and the brethren, the brotherhood that was formed that week.
The camaraderie, man. It was insane. Like we all got back to my house after we shot the music video and, went and picked up food and everyone was eating. And I was trying to explain it to my wife, like how awesome it was. And there were just no words that I could even say to explain the feelings or how it was, or it was just awesome, man. And like every single person who was here, Axis and Super Hex and Motley and Coffee and RG3 and like everybody, I just feel like it's just, God, man, I'm just lucky to be a part of such an awesome community.
Absolutely.
Just selfless people.
Literally just abundance mentality.
Yep.
Like there isn't in any other community that I've ever seen. I just can't, I can't express to our community how much you guys mean to me and how much you guys have become like so ingrained in everything I will ever do going forward. So you guys are just the most genuine of people, and I don't think it's by coincidence. Like I said earlier in the stream, I don't believe in coincidences. I don't believe it was a coincidence that the right people got the money.
Yep. Yeah. Everything happens for a reason, man. And
hey, look at this.
To affect.
Look at this. Goosebumps. That's all you said from this quote.
That's funny. She's like in the office right across from me here. Thank you for the support, so cool. Babe.
Yeah, absolutely.
I love it. I love it.
Jay, I have been known to cry. Yes. Yes, I have been known to cry when there's this much heartfelt energy and this much love. Absolutely right. I wouldn't be surprised if I did. So
Nardo says it the best, man. Like he measures how awesome of a day he has by how many times he has goosebumps. You know, you get 3 or 4 goosebumps in a day. That's a pretty good day. That day when we were all there together recording, it was just we literally lost count. I kept saying it. I was like, oh my gosh, because someone would say something and it would spark a conversation or an idea. And like the creativity of everyone there in one room, the creativity was just off the charts. And then to have Grant and Patrick there alongside Sean and John to help kind of focus and drive it into reality, really, like just spitballing ideas, and then for them to bring it all together and just mold it and say, this is how the best it's going to look the best if we do it this way or this way or this and that. And it was just unbelievable, man. It was so freaking awesome. And I can't wait. So I did get a couple of video edits. The first one came through yesterday and then made some changes. And then they sent another one over last night. And I was amped up about the one that we got last night, man. Like Sean and John are doing their thing, and they're making more changes. So it's like a good paper, right? You write a paper and you go through and you edit, and then you come back and you have someone else read it, and then they add their edits, and then you have someone else read it after you get those done. And so it's just constant improvement, failing forward, right? It's not going to be right the first time you do it, but if you continue to work at it, put the effort in, then we'll get there. And just from the first edit, what I saw yesterday was just nuts. And they're going to have another one to me by tomorrow. I think, I don't know, I'm hoping that Grant and Patrick both take a look at it and maybe give their feedback on it. And we can just make it a top-notch 100% ready to roll video. But yeah, the next week's going to be busy. Lots of promoting, lots of streams. And then we'll do the release on FN Hangout. So Hexicans, be ready next Friday. Everyone come jump on. And we'll do happy hour pre-release party with Cabana. Another awesome dude who came down like Cabana.
Yes.
It was just a crew full of awesome freaking people, man. Like just a privilege, honestly.
No words, right? No words.
Yeah, no words. No words,
just goosebumps. You heard it here from Freddy Quotes himself, guys.
Yep.
So, yeah, I find, and we've had this conversation privately on the phone, but I find it's so many of your personality traits I see in myself, and I think you said vice versa, and it's like looking in the mirror sometimes. And I want to say, I don't think that's just exclusive to me and Freddie's relationship. I think that's Hex. That's the kind of people that Hex brings in.
Yep. It's crazy, man. It's funny. It'll be interesting to see how the community grows over the next few years with the base and foundation that we have. I mean, you can't stop bad actors from getting in, but you know, I think the community does a pretty good job at policing itself and, you know, making physical threats against furus and stuff like that. Like, that's not cool, right? Like, nobody agrees with that. Nobody wants that to happen. So
well said. Thank you for making that point, because as much as we want their channels to die, as long as they're wrecking the plebs that are watching them, we don't want physical harm on people. We never wish that for people.
Exactly. And
I say that tongue in cheek because I did just challenge Chico Crypto to a UFC fight on Twitter yesterday, and so he may or may not ever see it, but you know, anything for the promotion of Hex. So I'd be willing to do that fight for you guys. So
yeah, and you know, in the video, we're rapping in a funeral home. Right, we're dancing on caskets. We're laying these furus to rest, but obviously never wish physical harm on anybody. But if we can knock their career down a notch and really expose who they are, they're shilling links for their own personal gain, their own personal benefit. Not about that, man. And that's what's awesome about Hex is that everyone in Hex are the selfless actors, the people who are making sacrifices for the betterment of others. It just drives me crazy, man. But yeah, this is gonna be a badass video. It's gonna be a badass song.
That's right, Wales. It's metaphorical, right? So
Right.
that's the whole point of this song is the metaphorical meaning of these guys shilling their time has come to an end, shilling these projects that are getting people wrecked.
Yep.
It's time for you guys to find real financial freedom. We have the answer, and Freddie's going to show you the way.
It's time for them to be held accountable.
Yep.
Honestly, if they're going to sit there and run their mouths and not do their research and talk trash and gatekeep and dude, I was saying it. I've been on so many streams the past week. I can't even remember when I said it, but they have literally prevented people from gaining generational wealth.
Yep.
There are people right now who could be paying for medical bills or, paying student loans off. I mean, look at David. Dude paid off his student loans. He made an initial $750 investment. And this was a year ago that he did that. And just from that, with the short amount of time since Hex launch until he did that, he paid off all his student loans. And when you have kids, when you have a family, like that's a heavy burden, man. Like
exactly. That is a heavy, and not only that, he's retired now. He announced his retirement to us privately at the meetup. So it didn't just pay for his star. Oh, I know. He really is. And the most genuine dude.
The most genuine guy.
Shirt off of his back. Humble. Like, he's the one that volunteered to run back and go get RG after RG crimping like a little girl in the bathroom, got left behind, and everybody was already at the venue. And RG's like, "Where'd you guys go?"
So that's a funny story, man. Like,
it is.
Yeah, we literally forgot RG3 at my house, and like we set the alarm, went outside, disabled the alarm, came back in to get KNTX a tie. Came upstairs, we're talking, didn't hear him, set the alarm again, left, he didn't hear it, because it goes off for a whole minute when you set it.
Thelma didn't have her hearing aids on. So
yeah, but I don't know, man. So I'm almost to the venue where we're recording. It's like a 15-minute drive. And RG3's like, "Where are you at?" And I'm like, "What do you mean? I'm almost there. Where are you at?" And like the alarm is going off in the background. He's like, "Bro, your alarm's going off. Like the police are coming to your house." I was like, "Oh no!" I had like the security company calling me. Like I've got them ringing in while RG3's on the phone. I was like, "Oh, what a disaster!" I felt so bad. But yeah, no. Dave was like, "I'll get him 100%." Boom, went and picked him up.
Not a problem. He just zipped over there and went and grabbed him. I love that Finn Bear. Home Alone, the RG3 story. Yeah. And I baseline, this is great. He wasn't tall enough to unlock the toilet door.
Oh my God. Cabana's comments pretty good too. That was hilarious in the parking lot. We forgot RG3. Can someone go back and get him?
Yeah, we were all congregated.
You had like 15 Hexicans standing around. You got a movie crew. You got funeral home directors standing there, and everyone's like, "Where's RG3?" It's like, I forgot him. Sorry.
Yep. That was great.
It was a good time, man. It was a lot of fun.
It definitely was. So thank you guys for being the community that you are. I'm gonna go ahead and get running, but we're looking at release next Friday on the FN Hangout.
Yep. Okay. Next Friday, FN Hangout, and everyone show up for the pre-party on happy hour for Cabana, 5:00 Eastern.
Do a little pre-partying on Cabana's channel.
A little pre-party. I'm gonna have a few drinks.
Solid salt of the earth dude right there. Cabana is.
Yep. And
trying to convince him to quit his job too.
And he had family obligations that weekend, man, and like friends and family. It was it was kickoff. It was NFL kickoff, and I guess he has a tradition where all his friends and family come over, and he stepped away from that to help contribute to the community, man. And it's just goosebumps again, like just
goosebumps.
Thank you everybody for all of the help. It couldn't have happened without any of you.
Yeah,
everyone is so awesome.
Yep. Very cool, and with that, I think this is a great place to end this. Will you give me the key word?
I don't know.
You don't know the markable keyword to end the stream?
No, I watch it, but I don't know what he says.
No worries. right, guys, I want you to join me over on the Crypto Junkies channel now. I'm going to head over there right now. I know I'm late. I apologize to Jay, but we will see you over there in a minute. And the rest of you guys, don't forget thehighestofstakes.com in the description below. Let's make this film a reality. Thanks, guys.